Welcome to this week's Coach's Corner. Today we're going to talk with Coach Smith about the HiSteppers. We're also going to talk with Coach Allen about the Ponca City football team. This week it's homecoming as the Wildcats will play host to Tulsa, Washington. But it's also a big week for the HiSteppers because not only will they perform on Friday, but the HiSteppers have a tradition in Ponca City, which we all know and love, and that is that the Steppers, their parents, the Booster Club, always get very involved and provide a meal for our fans before the game. And I might let you talk about that because, Coach Smith, that is a big part of homecoming to me.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, our dinner is always so much fun, and our parents put on a pregame dinner before homecoming. And so if you're interested in tickets, ask any Booster Club parents, any one of my girls' parents. They will have tickets. They're $10 a piece. And the dinner is in the Commons. And it will be sloppy joes, baked beans, chips, and dessert, and iced tea, lemonade, that type of thing. So, yeah, it's a great tradition, and tons of people always come out and support us, and it's just a lot of fun, and it's a good thing. I mean, good heavens, you can go eat and then go straight to the homecoming coronation. So that's always a great thing.
Well, this has been a tradition for about 40 years now, and the great thing is that it's homecoming, so alumni come back, and you don't have to make a meal. You can just get the family, go to the Commons, eat, and enjoy your friends right there. I just thought it was, whoever came up with this in the 70s, it was a great idea because everybody seems to enjoy it, and then they just make that little stroll over to Sullivan's and watch a football game.
Exactly. When I was a HiStepper, we were doing the pregame dinner, so yeah, it is, but that wasn't 40 years ago, by the way.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a tradition that's gone on for a long time, and it is a great fundraiser for us. It really helps us out with Nationals uniforms and Nationals expenses, and so it's definitely something we count on, and we so appreciate the Ponca City support. We definitely do.
Well, the HiSteppers, if you've ever seen them before, you look at their beautiful uniforms, the boots, and then if you've ever seen them in competition, the array of costumes and uniforms that they have to wear for that, and that all couldn't be done without big fundraisers. This is the biggest fundraiser of the year for the HiSteppers. And Kristin, you might talk about the fact that this money provides you not only with that, but the travel expenses to go to your national competition.
Right. It is thousands of dollars for us to travel to nationals. The bus costs a lot of money, especially when gas prices are high. And then, of course, it costs us to stay down at Denton. It cost us over $3,000 just to enter the competition. So we absolutely rely on the funds from that dinner to help offset all those costs, because Nationals is truly of no expense to the girls. We are able to provide everything for them, from costuming to hotel to transportation to food, everything for them. And that's something I definitely think is very, very important. And so we're able to do it with the generosity of people from Ponca City coming out and supporting us.
I can't imagine the groups that have had to end things like national competitions because of the expenses. And, in Ponca City, there is not a bigger event in April than your national competition because it is not only do you serve our community so well and make us so proud every year, not just 1 in 10, but every year those girls come back and they do our city very proud. But I can't imagine the day comes where maybe expenses get in that way. As long as we have a homecoming and as long as we have parents willing to work like that, and I know it's a dream for you every year. You get to take those girls and
it is.
They work all year. They work to go out on Friday nights, but they work for this national competition.
They definitely do. And yeah, they love to perform in front of their home crowd, but they are also incredibly proud to be able to represent Ponca City every year at Nationals. And it's fun when they go down there and other teams know who they are and want to watch us perform and things like that. And yeah, I don't even want to think about the day that we can't afford to do, but I do know teams that can no longer compete, can no longer go to summer camp, that type of thing, because it's just so outrageously expensive.
You mentioned your summer camp in Emporia, which has become kind of your place to go as well, and that's an expensive ordeal too, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. We, of course, transportation we pay for, and that is something that we honestly have to charge the girls to go, and they pay $350 a girl to go to camp. So it is incredibly important to me that I can offset all sorts of other expenses throughout the year, because $350 is a lot of money. It definitely is. And I think once we go, I know we spend close to $11,000 for us just to go to camp. And that's a ton of money. So, it is very expensive, but.
As we look at what's happened so far during the school year, we had a scenario last week where the high school football game did not get played because of weather, and the HiSteppers did not get to perform at halftime, which is a big part of our high school football Friday nights. And I thought it was very interesting that you took your girls, and as it became less and less likely that the game would be played, you made some other arrangements, and I understand a lot of folks were able to go in and to watch your girls inside the field house. It wasn't ideal, but at least it was a chance for them to perform. Talk about that.
Right. As when we came off the field, we actually had already come out of the stands and were getting ready to perform back behind the stands. And a couple of my girls were like, "Miss Smith, it's lightning." And I was like, "Well, I think it's far enough away. I think we're still okay. I think we can get through halftime, and let's hope for that." And then it just kept lightning. And I noticed that I kept feeling like, why is second quarter not starting? Why haven't we moved on? And so I walked over to where I could see the referees conferring on the field, and I thought, oh, this isn't good. And shortly after that, they started calling all the players off the field. And so I took my girls into the field house, and we were all standing around. And as it became more and more evident, I was talking to Mr. Dilbeck, the principal, and he was saying, "Kristin, we're going to wait till 9 o'clock to make the call. But at 9 o'clock, if we don't have the lightning cleared by then, we're going to have to call the game." And so I was talking to my girls, and I said, we're probably not going to be able to dance on the field, because I don't think that this is going to clear by 9 o'clock. And they were like, "Miss Smith, can we go ahead and dance?" And I said, "Well, yeah, if you guys want to put it on the court, of course we can." I said, "Let me talk to Mr. Dilbeck and make sure it's good, but sure, that's an option." So I went and talked to him and said, "Would you mind, once they call the game, just announcing that we're going to go ahead and dance if anybody wants to stay and watch?" And so that's what happened. And he even asked me to wait a little while longer before we went on the court, because he said, "We've got people who were still outside in the stadium who just heard the announcement that you guys were going to dance, and they want to come in and watch." So, while it was not an ideal situation for us, simply because when I choreograph very differently for a military out on a football field than I would for a military that's on the basketball court. And this was supposed to be a military out on the field. But, you play the cards you're dealt, and at least my girls did get to dance, and they went out on the court and did a great job, and we had a ton of people stay I think tons of that whole north stands in the field house was full, and tons of the students stayed, and it was just so nice to see the support. And the girls were able to go ahead and get to perform and get to show off all the work that they had done before that halftime. So that was a great thing. I don't think we've ever had to do that before, no. And I hope we don't have to do that again, but at least we did get to dance.
And I again, instead of just going and getting in the car, a lot of folks, elected to stay and support your program like that as
which
well.
Which is great. That makes me feel so good, and that makes my girls feel so good, because when they marched out there, it was like, oh, okay, people actually did stay. So it was a very, very nice.
For homecoming, can you give us a little idea of what we're going to see on Friday night yet, or is that top secret?
Oh, no, it's not top secret. We're doing big hoops. Again, I will say, the routine is very different than what we have done in the past. When I choreograph, I usually do some things that are just traditional crowd pleasers, but every single routine we do is unique and it's different, and I choreograph new stuff every year. It was kind of weird. We had a couple of comments that people were saying, "Oh, don't you guys just do the exact same routine, just change the music?" And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Number one, because every piece of music is different and breaks are different. And but I think it's just because I do some of that traditional stuff, like the bow in a high kick. You know, I've choreographed a high kick if we do our traditional bow. And I think when people see those things, oh, well, that's, you know, what they always do. And it's not. Everything is totally unique. But so I thought, okay, all right, I'm going to make this absolutely totally different. So there's nothing traditional, there's no circles, there's no one big straight line back. Everything is totally different. So the girls are really excited to show it, and I was excited to choreograph it. It was fun, and I think it's going to be good.
Well, and what she's talking about too is that in the winter you choreograph things for wrestling and basketball. Obviously, the dimensions are different. So,
Right.
you know, for those girls to be able, I mean, that's adapting to what you have
Yes.
in a very quick way.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they, I'm sure Friday night they had to kind of figure out where they were on the court instead of on the football field.
Oh, definitely. And every time we practice that, of course we practice in the field house, but I don't really mess that much with spacing when we're going to do it on the football field because they have certain yard lines and hash marks and things that they know that they go to. So even when I announced them on Friday night, I said, you guys are going to have to give us a little leeway on spacing because we've put this on the field every time. And yes, they did have to definitely adapt to a little different dimension than what we're used to. So
That's terrific. Well, we look forward to your work on Friday night, and hopefully the weather will
Thanks.
cooperate as well. Kristin Smith, HiStepper coach on Coach's Corner.